if you have a comedic mind, I think there are always these things you latch onto when you're young. Like you were saying, we were saying before the show about certain moments with during adolescence, which maybe you'll hear that one day. That'll be in the vault. But I feel like there's certain things you recognize as just like, that makes sense. Something clicks with you and you're like, I identify with what's going on here. Like, for instance, for me, it was the most important influences for me when I was young. It was Eddie Murphy Raw, Bill Cosby himself. I mean, I'm seeing these way too young. Well, maybe not Bill Cosby. Well, it's now we can't watch it at all, but because we know what was going on.
That one's going in the vault.
Yeah. And but there were those. And the first Sinbad HBO special, Afros and Bell Bottoms. Like there were some that I just remember seeing and I'm just like, I get that.
3 black comics too. That's funny.
It's
You're building the bridge, the cultural bridge.
It was. Well, see, but I grew up in a town where I was the minority. It was mostly black and Puerto Rican, and I grew up in Lakewood.
No shit.
So yeah.
Oh, okay.
So to me, that was just kind of like what was around. Like I didn't even think about that really until you just said it now, because it's that is true. But like I see that, and I'm just like I connect with that on a. Not necessarily on a performance level, because as a kid, and I'm saying like I was probably like 12 when I saw Eddie Murphy Raw, which was probably too young. I mean, it was great at the time, but then again, I watched Beverly Hills Cop when I was 7 because my parents are people of class and taste. Because they weren't naive enough to just be like, he'll never watch this. Like he'll see it somewhere. At least he'll watch it at home. So that happened. But was there something for you where you have those things where you look at and you're just like, that makes sense to me, and it kind of puffed up the comedy gene.
So this is how dumb I am.
Now you're speaking my language.
I didn't fully understand that stand-up was a thing, but when I would watch SNL, I knew I always was like, all right, well, the Weekend Update thing's my favorite. I like that. I was starting to watch at the tail end of Norm, and then because what it used to be is that SNL for a while would play on Comedy Central.
Right.
They would play like that entire month's episodes. They'd play that all on a Sunday from like 2 o'clock to like 6 o'clock or something. So I would always go to my grandmother's house after church in Jersey. And my grandfather and I would sit in the back. He would fall asleep about halfway through the Jets game. And then I could take the remote and then I could put on SNL. And I would watch.
The real Sunday ritual. Never mind church.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, this is where it's at.
Yeah, he'd fall asleep on the porch. Then I would just wait a couple minutes out of respect. And then when he woke up, I'd give him the remote back, obviously. Right. But I would watch SNL, and then my grandmother would let us watch late night. Usually on Saturday nights, you'd stay up late and watch Letterman. She loved Letterman, so you'd watch Letterman, and I always liked the comics on there, and I liked the stuff they would do. And then the next day, I'd watch SNL, and SNL was always funny, but I was always like, well, Weekend Updates. That if I was on the show, that's what I would do, because
right.
And Colin Quinn, and I'll just turn to the camera here for a second. Giant Irish-headed guy. Dresses blue-collar clothes, kind of. He always, people gave him shit for being on Update, man. I fucking loved him. I thought he was great. But I identified with that right away, so much to the point where I think and I was in 7th grade at the time. So I think I tried to take him on as my personality.
I think we all do that. I think we all imitate.
Oh, without a doubt.
Before you figure it out. Yeah,
and then you put on a couple different hats and you figure out which one actually fits the best. But that's how people started responding to me. And then I'd write notes and stuff, or I'd try to have like a clever thing, or like when we could do, when they would do current events, I would be writing comedy, like not knowing it really, but I would try to write something funny because I wanted to get a laugh out of the people in the class. And we more often than not, it would work. Sometimes you just got called annoying, but that's the plight of comedy.
Isn't it?
It is. But that was like Colin was the first thing that I was like, all right, so that's cool. Then Tough Crowd came out, and I was just hooked on that show. But it's weird because now you're in 7th grade and you want to come in the next day and give your hot takes on the Bush administration, and that just kind of weirds everybody around you. Like, why do you have such strong opinions about the invasion of Iraq?
Right.
So you kind of had to learn. All right, well, this is cool, but you got to age into it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that it wasn't you. It was, like you said, you were imitating something that was kind of like, I like that, so I'm going to try to project that, even if it wasn't coming from authentic, which is one of the things, like with, finding your voice and kind of figuring out exactly who you are, which, has been, I've done open mics here and there. I've never felt compelled to do stand-up. I've had a bunch, because I feel like you kind of you have to want to do it, especially because, I guess like podcasting that way, where it's just like, it's diminishing returns for so long in terms of you just doing it just because you need to do it. And, you know, I just kind of never felt compelled to like, I need to keep doing this. Like I hear the stories, you know, I've read everybody's autobiographies and everything. And I just think, yeah, that I've never felt like I've kind of had to do it. I felt the need to do it. But there seems to always be something where it's like you have that experience where you get that laugh and you're like, this is what it's about.
It's a drug.
Yeah.
I saw it at an open mic once. This blew my mind. This was there's some people, and I kind of this is going to sound dickheaded, but
not on the show. It won't. Trust me.
I admire and am jealous of people who sit there and can have the discipline to say, hey, this isn't for me. Like what you were saying, not being compelled. Because there's so many people that can't take their eye off this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is my call. And I was like, listen, because I saw a guy one time get a real laugh for the first time at an open mic, and it shook him because he was, what the hell? He was nervous by it because he'd been getting nothing for so long that he assumed that's what it was. Mm-hmm. So I think it goes in levels. If you get a chuckle in the room, you know, and you never get any better than that, you think that's what the laugh is supposed to sound like. Then the first time you get a big laugh, you're like, whoa, fuck. I mean, there's been times I've thought I was killing on stage. And then somebody I'm working with, you know, I'm very lucky to get to work with some good people. Right. They come up there and they show you what the room's really capable of. And that humbles the shit out of you. And then you say, well, I want to learn how to do that thing. But at the same time, if I'm never figuring it out, the best thing, I'm so happy when I see the lives that people go on to live once they give up the bullshit of comedy. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like I know a guy, a gorgeous wife, 2 young kids. He's living down in Jacksonville, Florida. I think he's a teacher. He did comedy once, realized he was out. He didn't really like it. He goes, okay, so I'm funny, but I'm not stage funny. And just went on to living his life. And he has this beautiful fucking life that I'm just sitting there like, that could have been me. But I got one good laugh with the first joke I told, and I've been stuck for 10 and a half years now.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of weird that once you realize like, oh no, this is the thing, that you kind of can't let go of it.